Hey, I'm Dr. Namrata. I talk about leading an authentic life with kindness, respect, and courage. Today, I wanted to quickly talk about a topic that has so many reactions as the concept of forgiveness. You have like two groups of people. You're like the ones who say, forgive the person, it's for you, which is correct, right? And then you have the second group of people who are like, it doesn't matter, just move on. And when it comes to authentic people, they have an interesting merge of the two schools of thought. And the way it works is there's this mature realization that this person, that maybe things didn't work out, right? You thought something when you entered the relationship, work, family, romantic, doesn't matter. And after some time or a few years, you realize, okay, this isn't going in the direction I hoped it would. And it's time to say our goodbyes. And a lot of people reach that place when there's maximum frustration stage. So you kind of cut the cord off at that stage of just maximum frustration. And an authentic person usually doesn't let it reach to that place of maximum frustration. They kind of smell the signs way before because they're always 10 steps ahead. And they put in place measures that allow them to remove themselves from the situation, and they work meticulously towards creating that exit for themselves, right? So it's a well thought out, well planned approach to the mutual understanding that this isn't working out, right? And the concept of, I usually say that if someone's done you really bad, when you're not the person to have deserved such behavior, at least you believe that, then forgiveness in this scenario doesn't essentially mean that, oh, you must have a hard life, you must have had a hard past, I'm going to pity you, I'm going to forgive you. There's a challenge there, because the more you do that, the more likely you are to go back. So forgiveness doesn't mean entering the conversation from a place of pity. Forgiveness means what you did was wrong. I don't accept it. But you're not that mature yet. And I'm gonna take that as a fact. If life was a video game, you're at level 2 when I'm at level 7, right? So I'm not gonna hold you to that expectation that you should be behaving like a level 7 does, because you simply don't know. How could you, right? So there's that maturity in authentic people, and they go into that place of, it's okay. You're not there yet. I am, because I went through enough, right? For some reason, I am here in terms of maturity. I understand and see the world differently. I have a certain level of patience, right? I have a different understanding to the world. I'm only at level 7, but I have to go to level God knows what. So my growth is not over yet. I still have to keep growing. I have to remove myself from you in order to allow my stages to keep growing, because what you're doing is that you're bringing me down to your level. And why would anyone, if you're playing a video game, would you ever do this, that you've worked hard to reach a stage and then you intentionally start going backwards? No. The goal is to go and check out what's next. There's this hunger, there's this curiosity, there's this almost a crazy need. If you're into video games, you'll understand it, that, oh my God, I gotta see what's next. And it's completely unknown, but you're figuring it out on the go, and that's life, right? Why in the hell would you go to a lower stage back to 0? Nobody does that. But when you meet people for the first time, everybody's uniform most of the times, right? So it's hard to tell who's at what stage. With time, you understand who's where in their journey of life, maturity, even spirituality, understanding of people, communication, all these things count, right? So instead of saying I forgive you, which is more like, oh, he must have had a difficult life, you have to forgive him, please don't take it so personally, I call bullshit. No, if somebody does you wrong, they've done you wrong, right? You don't have to hate them. You just have to accept that they're at a different level where I was many years ago, right? And they're choosing a certain direction. Instead of going towards the light, they're probably turning towards the darkness. That's not on you anyways. Let them grow in the direction they've chosen to. But you don't stop your growth. So instead of saying I forgive you, you can humbly say I replace you. Okay? I'm not holding anything. I'm not holding anger. I'm not holding vengeance because of this understanding that you're on life's path just like me. Coincidentally, we've both taken birth at the same point in the history of time. We've come face to face. We've spent some time together. Things didn't work out. I wish you all the best, but I'm not in that place of pitying you yet or feeling like I need to understand your backstory. That's the next stage. So if you found yourself in the middle of, I just want out, then you don't have to say, I forgive you. You just say, it's time to replace, No. And by replace, I don't mean that you have to find someone else. No, that replacement for authentic people is with the self. So that person you're replacing instead of this person in which you put so much energy, so much effort, you really tried to make it work. Who you're replacing in the end is you. So now the focus goes entirely on you. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to analyze and see why I found myself in this situation in the first place. What can I do better the next time, right? I'm not going to become cynical of the world. I'm not going to say, oh, people are like this. No, you're not going to do that, because this was just one incident which was meant for you to grow to your next level. So if you see that, you don't always have to forgive. I personally think it's not the best advice to forgive, okay? Because you're kind of forcing the person to kind of go back towards the relationship in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but by saying that you're forgiving someone, you really need to understand the person you're dealing with before you actually give that advice. If they're in that position of trying to find the self from within for the first time in their lives, no matter how old you are, then it's better to say, don't forgive, just replace, move on, cut cords, zero contact, but look at yourself. Now grow you. Build those habits, do those things you always wanted to do. Go for that thing that you've been scared of doing. Just find that courage and go for it. So that's how it works. And eventually, once you've done that for a few years, interestingly, you actually do come to a place of forgiveness, right? And even when that happens, you've risen to, your video game has gone to such a different level that if this person does come around, you're just going to be like, it's good to see you, but I wish you the best. That's forgiveness. But before that, there's that stage of me first. Okay? So I hope this helps someone. Think about choices you've made. You don't have to stay stuck with those choices. You can always move on from your choices, but make sure you do it in a manner that makes sense instead of sudden, in which more messes are created. Except for certain scenarios, just a disclaimer, in certain scenarios it's always good to do a sudden exit instead of carrying it on too long. Depends on the person you're dealing with. But in most cases, figure out how to remove yourself, replace the person. If you're not at that place of forgiveness yet, focus on you, bring your life up to your own stage that you were at before you met this person, and then grow upwards from there, okay? So I hope this helps. Love you.